There's a point a lot of us hit, maybe in our 40s or 50s, where it feels like our body just starts playing by a new set of rules. Suddenly, things like gas, constipation, or even just noticing your eyesight isn't quite what it used to be, well, they become daily frustrations. So today, we're going to break down a really practical meal plan designed to tackle those exact issues, and it's all based on a real-world problem. Okay, let's dive right in.
This right here, this is where we're starting. And I think this message really hits home for a lot of people. It's from a 55-year-old man who's trying to do the right thing, He's eating just one meal a day, thinking that's the healthy move, but his problems are actually getting worse. It's a classic situation where the best intentions don't get you the right results, and you'd be surprised how common that is.
So does any of that sound familiar? The bloating, the discomfort, just that feeling of frustration? If you're nodding along right now, you are in exactly the right place. Because here's the good news. These aren't just random things you have to put up with. They are almost always tied directly to how and what we're eating. And that, my friends, is something we have total control over. Okay, so before we even look at a menu, we have to understand the why. A meal plan that actually works isn't just a random list of foods. It's built on a solid foundation, on core principles. We're going to focus on 3 big ideas that directly target gastritis, constipation, and eye health. All right, principle number 1 is all about gastritis. That's basically just a fancy word for an inflamed, irritated stomach lining that gives you that awful burning feeling. The big mistake people make is eating 1 or 2 huge meals. It just completely overloads your stomach and makes it produce way too much acid. So the principle is simple. We switch to smaller, more frequent meals. We're talking 5 to 6 times a day. This keeps your digestive system humming along nicely without ever getting overwhelmed. Now, for constipation, I want you to remember just one number, 30. For men over 50, the daily goal is 30 grams of fiber. Now, that might sound like a huge number, but really, it's the magic number for keeping everything moving the way it should. Trying to hit that in one big meal? Almost impossible. But when you spread it out across a whole day like we're about to, it's totally doable. And for eye health, our absolute hero is vitamin A. But here's the cool part. Our body actually makes it from something called beta-carotene. So think of beta-carotene as the raw material, like lumber. Your body's the factory that turns that lumber into the finished product, vitamin A, which your eyes desperately need to stay healthy. And where do you find this stuff? In bright orange and dark green foods, like carrots, sweet potatoes, and spinach. We're not just eating for our gut, we're eating for our eyes, too.
Okay, principles are great, but what does this actually look like on a plate? Let's put this plan into action. We're going to walk through an entire day, from the minute you wake up all the way to dinner.
So here's the roadmap for the day. And what's the first thing you notice? Everything is spaced out, about every 2 to 3 hours. This isn't random. This is that small, frequent meals principle we just talked about, brought to life. A schedule like this prevents you from getting ravenously hungry, keeps your energy level stable, and most importantly, it keeps your digestive system calm and happy. We kick things off at 6 a.m., and not with food, but with a warm, really soothing cup of water that's been infused with cumin, also known as jeera, and fennel seeds. It's such a simple but powerful way to gently wake up your digestive system. And here's what's so smart about this. It's all about prevention. Before you've even had a bite to eat, this drink is already at work, helping to stop gas from even forming in the first place. It's like setting the stage for a perfect day of digestion. A couple hours later, around 8 a.m., it's time for our first real meal. And it's a good one. A savory pancake made from mung dal with fresh spinach mixed right into the batter. This is a brilliant way to pack in protein, fiber, and some really key nutrients. And this breakfast is where you really see all our principles come together. Mung dal is famous for being the easiest lentil to digest. It's just way gentler on your stomach than other beans. The spinach, of course, is a powerhouse of vitamin A for your eyes. And a tiny pinch of a spice called hing, or asafoetida, is added specifically to fight bloating. See? Every single ingredient is there for a reason. All right, moving into the middle of the day. For our mid-morning snack, we've got a carrot and apple smoothie. Then for lunch, we're having a flat bread made from mixed grains, some steamed veggies, and another helping of that super digestible yellow mung dal. This combination is an absolute nutritional jackpot. And get this, just 100 grams of carrots can give you over 300% of your daily vitamin A needs. The mixed grain roti gives us a solid 6 grams of fiber, and adding some sweet potato into the veggie mix gives you another boost for both your vision and your gut. As we head into the evening, you'll notice things get a little bit lighter, and that's totally on purpose. We want to ease the load on our digestive system before bed. So, an afternoon snack of a baked sweet potato?
Maybe some green tea with whole grain toast later, and then for dinner, brown rice with some steamed greens, like spinach.
Now, the switch from white rice to brown rice here is a huge deal. White rice has almost no fiber, but a cup of brown rice has about 3.5 grams. We're getting another dose of spinach for our eyes, and maybe the most important rule of all, finishing dinner by 7:30. This gives your body a good 2 to 3 hours to digest before you lie down to sleep. That is crucial.
And here it is, the whole day laid out. So let's just step back and look at what we've accomplished. Boom! We absolutely nailed our fiber goal, landing right in that sweet spot of 26 to 30 grams. And our vitamin A intake? Off the charts, in a good way, thanks to all those amazing colorful vegetables. This isn't about starving yourself. It's about eating strategically to hit your health goals.
Okay, we've got the food down, but, and this is a big but, what you eat is only half the battle. To make this whole plan work, there are 4 essential habits, let's call them rules, that you've got to follow. These are just as important as the food itself.
First, hydration is key, but here's the trick. Drink your water between meals, not with them. Chugging water while you eat can dilute your stomach acid. Second, chew your food. Seriously, digestion begins in your mouth. Third, be consistent. And listen to this because it's wild. Studies show that irregular meal times can increase your risk of gastritis by up to 13 times. And finally, cook light. Steaming, boiling, baking, these are your best friends. Frying, not so much.
You know, we've talked a ton about what to put in your body, but sometimes the real secret to healing your gut is about what you keep out. So here's a very clear list of foods you'll want to avoid, especially when you're just starting out.
This list covers all the usual suspects, right? Fried and spicy foods are obvious irritants. Caffeine and fizzy drinks can cause trouble too. Those simple white carbs like white bread and rice, they just don't have the fiber we need. And that last one might surprise you. Veggies like cabbage and cauliflower are healthy, of course, but they can be really tough for a sensitive gut to break down. So it's best to just set them aside for a little while, until your system gets stronger.
And that brings us to something that is super important. Look, this is an awesome roadmap, but please remember it is not a replacement for professional medical advice. You should always talk to your doctor before making any big changes to your diet, especially if you have ongoing symptoms or you're taking any medication.
So, as we wrap things up here, I want to leave you with this question. The goal isn't to be perfect overnight. That's not realistic. It's about taking that first step. So what's one small, manageable change from this plan? Maybe it's just trying that Jira water in the morning, or swapping your white rice for brown at dinner. What's one simple thing you can do today to start feeling better?